Major Clapton vibes going on now, people. Here it is. The Fender Player 2 series that they brought out. Let's get the neck in. And it's got the 70th anniversary stamp on the back, which is a nice touch. Made in Ensenada now, but they put on the back rather than made in Mexico. And yeah, when I looked at all the colours that I wanted, I knew I was going to go down the Strat route for my other guitar that I've got an Epiphone Les Paul inspired by a Gibson one, which is just brilliant with the Gibson burst buckers in. But I knew that my next guitar was going to be a Strat, to sort of scratch that Strat itch when I get it. So depending now what your price range is of what you can afford, mine's gone up in levels, and I've done this purposely to build up to it, and especially from a Strat point of view. So where I first started out, it was a Squire, which are great to start on, a second-hand Squire actually. And then it went up to the Classic Vibes. And the Classic Vibes are all right, but the only thing with Classic Vibe is that they're tall, narrow frets. So be careful with the Classic Vibes. These are medium jumbo, and that's my preference. Medium jumbo is my preference anyway, even on a Les Paul. So this is a lot better. But when I looked at the colour schemes for these Player 2, and I can see that the price range was in my price range, which I'll talk about in a minute, I could see that I was going to go down for the black and white one, because this has got, well, not only Clapton vibes, it's probably got Gilmour and Hendrix vibes going on it as well. And for the type of music I've grown up with, I mean, I was born in the 70s, so this is very my era and the music I still listen to now. It was always a maple neck was my preference on a Strat. A rosewood's my preference on a Les Paul, but again, that's down to your own preference. I haven't noticed any kind of sound quality difference from playing this maple neck to a rosewood neck, but this was always my preference, because again, a guitar has got to look good to you where you want to pick it up, and for me this is pretty good, you know, for my own preference. So the price of this, and I've done the same thing as what I did with my Les Paul. I let the new series that I know that is taking my fancy for seeing a review on it, say on YouTube, and then you wait for the price to go down. Give it 6 months, give it a year, if not long, and then get it. And you always get it along the times of Black Friday sales in November or the January sales. And what I find in the January sales is, and this was on sale, they also do an offer for where you can pay for it interest free, which is how I get my guitars, because where my Epiphone Les Paul was $749 and it came with a case and everything else, I didn't have £749, but I paid it interest free, and I could afford the monthly payments, and it's interest free. So that was easy to do. That's paid off. Now I can go on to my second guitar that I wanted. And then that makes it easier for me. This had a original ticket of $739 on, which I think was their opening price that they come out with. I've got it for $659. But again, interest free. I haven't got £659, but I can put 10% down straight away and then pay it monthly. And if I get the chance to pay it off, there's a very small settlement fee to pay it off. But that's the way, it's a good route to get your more expensive guitars that you've got in mind, and it's a good route it's a good way of getting them if you haven't got the money. But can you afford the monthly payments, especially when they're not adding anything on, you know? So this was exactly what I wanted, and the color schemes, even though there was all the natural colors that were around at the time, the traditional black and white is what I wanted, that stood out for me. The case I had to buy separate. Again, I've even done that monthly as well, and it was a classic. If you see on a previous video, I've already posted it, the classic wood black and white Fender case. This sets off the guitar with all the black inline, you know, interior, and it just sets off the guitar beautifully, and more importantly, protects it well. And yeah, I haven't been disappointed. The step up that I've done, like I said, with the Squires and the classic vibes, and then to get to this point is just awesome. Again, it just flows. It almost, you know, it plays for you, you know. And that's the other thing I've missed by playing the Les Paul so much. Just your tremolo arm. Great to have it back. Every time I end something now, I can't resist of just sort of slowing it down and ending any tune with the tremolo arm when it seems appropriate. So that's good to have that back as well. Again, it gives you that different sound from the Les Paul that you want, and a Strat has always been my preference than the Telecaster. What I liked about the model as well, again, I purposely pick satin necks or necks that are not going to be sticky, that are not heavily glossed. The classic vibes are like that, actually. They're very glossed. I think you can get some satin versions, but this is never going to stick. It's been sanded down so well, and even the sweatiest hand ain't going to stick to this. So that was another feature. I like the slightly yellow aged knobs and the single coil, how they've done that and how they've aged that, but they've kept then everything a traditional white. I've taken all the stickers off and things. Some people keep all the wrapping on with the Fender Player 2 sticker. I've peeled everything off. Now I want my own wear going into it. If it's going to get any, a little bit of buckle rash or some light's going to get to it and it might fade, but it's my own wear I'm putting into it now. Even though there's some relic guitars that I kind of appeal to me, I prefer to, if you can do it yourself, whether you drop it or just, it's your own wear going into it. And if you don't get much wear on the guitar, then, fair enough, as long as you've always liked the look of it. I don't like heavily forced relic guitars, to be perfectly honest. Options besides this, there was a humbucker, there was a HSS sort of version, but if I was going to have a Strat, I wanted it for a Strat. My humbuckers and the burst buckers are in my Les Paul. That's where I've got the higher sound. For real powerful stuff, I wanted a Strat to be a Strat. It's just what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to do just a traditional Strat things, really. I didn't want anything sort of special. It just had to be really well made and within my price range for what I can afford. So again, all the classic now tones you can get out of it, and it's just fantastic to play. I keep nines on a Strat. I know Stevie Ray Vaughan and other famous people sort of put higher gauge strings on their Strat, but I believe it should be 9. 9 on the Strat and on a Telly, 10 on a Les Paul. Keep it simple. And again, it's good to play nines again after playing the Les Paul for such a long while. So it's good to get back. I can only highly recommend it. I mean, £659, they could have thrown in a case for that price, I think, considering it's Mexico made. I know the USA ones normally come with a case, but so they should, because now you're getting, you know, £1,000 upwards. But for 659 quid, for £659 and interest free to pay it monthly, it's great. It's exactly what I wanted, and it's just absolutely superb to play. I can only recommend it, really. I can only recommend it. I think they've upgraded this sort of area to make this even better quality than the original Fender Player series. And obviously there's new colours, and they've got these aged knobs and everything, but just your normal 5-way selector switch and everything's just standard. This is exactly how I wanted it. It's just awesome to play. I think the biggest thing of getting a new guitar, when people say, why have you got more than one, etc., etc., it's what this guitar inspires me to play and what it inspires you to do compared to then your other guitars. If you want to play different on this, that's only going to upgrade your learning capabilities, because you want to do something different on this one compared to me doing something different on the other one. Well, that's a good thing. That's why you have more than one guitar. Whether it gets out of hand and you've got 8, 10, 12, 15 guitars, and that's another matter altogether. But nevertheless, as long as each guitar that you've got inspires you to play something different, that's why you have more than one. You know, you just feel a different vibe on this. So but yeah, I'll just play out another few tones that I like to play on this. It's just so smooth and silky to play, and for £659, which is what it currently is, whether that goes once you get out the month of January, I really don't know, but I can only recommend it. And it's the Fender Player 2 series. It's just really, really good. It's the price range that I can afford. Fender USA was never on the market for me, unfortunately, as much as I would want to go down that route, because again, they are a step up from here, or even a Fender Japan. But again, you can only get what you can afford, and I'm lucky enough that I'm in a position to pay monthly to get what I can get. So I'm buying guitars now with the intention of forever keeping them. I've gone down the route of the entry level guitars now, and just to have a stack of, you know, cheaper entry level guitars laying about. They're being sold, and they've been sold to finance things like this, you know. So like my Les Paul, that's a keeper, and so is this one. It's everything that I wanted and more, and I've spent a week with it now, and it's just great stuff. So yeah, that's the Fender Player 2 series. I can only recommend it.